A university in Europe says it is now unacceptable to mock terrorists. Speaking of terrorists, Muslims are now calling on their fellow Muslims to poison the food in American supermarkets with cyanide. And the experts weigh in on the long-awaited end of DACA. My name's Howard Riell, and this is Real Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com and on Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, and the book Real Truth, Stay Angry. And, of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM, The Lion. Our call-in number is 877-254-7524. My friends, welcome back. Item from The Independent. A student who mocked ISIS on Facebook is being investigated over claims that his post put minority students at risk and in a state of panic and fear. Robbie Travers, 21-year-old third-year law student, is being probed by the University of Edinburgh over claims he committed a, quote, hate crime, even though no criminal investigation by the police has taken place. The complaint came when he shared a comment after the U.S. Air Force dropped a massive ordnance air blast on a network of ISIS tunnels in Afghanistan in April. Stop. My friends, you want to know, why is Europe slowly dying? Why will Europe look completely different in 50 years? Why is Europe being relegated to the scrap heap? Well, I can answer all those questions because they haven't got the guts, the intelligence, the backbone to stand up to these newest invaders. These invaders who come not with banners unfurled and weapons at the ready, but they come saying, pity us. We're poor, bedraggled, we need help. You're such good folks. Open the door, let us in. We'll live among you as good friends and compatriots. And of course, my friends, it's all a lie. It is a Muslim stratagem. And the Europeans, maybe they feel sorry for all the atrocities they've committed over the last 2,000 years, culminating in World War II. Whatever it is, they are fools, they are sheep ready for the shearing. Now, they won't even brook a dissenting view. If you insult, forget about insulting Muslims, if you insult terrorists, murderers, now the universities in Europe will weigh against you, will eye you with suspicion, will investigate you, and they may can you totally. Let's hope that doesn't come here, right? Good luck. It's Wednesday. Real Truth. We'll be back.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessing of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution. American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown reminds parents, keep an eye on your child while shopping. Children tend to stray or become lost. This poses an opportunity for a would-be abductor. Please make every effort to keep track of your little one at all times. If you have information regarding a lost child, call local authorities at once. This message is from American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown. For residential or commercial window tinting, call 303-263-4228. Piccolo's Restaurant in Denver reminds us that over 750,000 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were abducted by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters at play, and if you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Piccolo's Restaurant in Denver. It's not only the best Italian and Mexican cuisine, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 303-757-5166. 303-757-5166. Piccolo.
All right, guys, let's get right to it. Lots to cover. I've got Newt Gingrich being interviewed by Sean Hannity talking about why President Trump's ending DACA is such a vitally important thing, such a positive step for America. Go. Sean, that doesn't sound very logical to me. Much more logical is a preemptive strike so that he never gets to fire a missile. Doesn't that make more sense? And doesn't that send the message to other scumbags around the world, I'm thinking of Iran specifically, that we're not going to let you have a nuclear weapon, so you can stop bothering yourselves right now. Preemptive strike makes sense. Waiting for an enemy to launch makes no sense. Let's take a break. We'll come back, and I will launch preemptively with some more Real Truth.
Great Plains Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom tailored capabilities is not emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com.
The Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He makes the plans of the people of no effect. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation. God is the Lord. The people he has chosen as his own inheritance. Psalm 33, verses 10 through 12.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America News Network.
All right, my friends, welcome back to Real Truth. I am Howard Riell. The focus on DACA today continues. Here's my colleague Ann Coulter weighing in.
Ann Coulter, the best-selling author, great columnist. Her book is In Trump We Trust. If you haven't read it, you should read this book. Big bestseller. In Trump We Trust. You go to AnnCoulter.com. You can get it there. You can get her new column. Make sure you follow her on Twitter. Ann Coulter, how you doing?
Fine, thanks. How are you, Mark Simone?
Very good. Now, is it that President Trump and this administration has the worst messaging of any administration? DACA was illegal. It was going to get knocked out in the courtroom. He's saying, pass it as legislation. That's the only way to save it. But he's not getting that across.
Well, maybe because his entire campaign was that he was going to end it and we shouldn't give amnesty to illegals. I think that's been his point for the last 5 years. So I think really the problem isn't messaging. The problem seems to be the president. But luckily, somehow he knew that he needed to be kept locked in his office yesterday for the announcement and let Jeff Sessions make the announcement. So that part was good. But then when he started saying, no, don't worry, we're granting an amnesty. I don't know if you paid attention to Trump until the campaign, but he tweeted furiously when Republicans once before were trying to sneak through amnesty in the dead of night, how it was a loser, it was a disaster, it was bad for America. And then you may recall his entire campaign, his entire stunning, unbelievable, crush all opponents campaign, the main point of which was no amnesty. We're putting Americans first. And the policy is to end it. And Jeff Sessions said the policy is to end it. And again, thank God, the president was locked in his office at that point. And then he comes out to Twitter and says, we've got to pass it next. Congress doesn't act in 6 months. I will act. not grant an amnesty. And do not be fooled, Mark Simone. This is 100% amnesty across the board for all 40 million illegal aliens.
Well, but I'm for
why?
DACA.
Go ahead.
I'm for DACA. It's only 800,000 people.
Oh my, no, it is not. No, it is not. It is 40 million. That is total lie.
It's mostly people in their 20s, and these are the busboys.
That is an absolute lie. I know they bust your cables.
These are the guys that cut the
They
lawn.
mow your lawn. No,
These
we
are
have
the guys
plenty of
that-
those. We have plenty of those. And by the way, they're going to start charging more. Oh my gosh, we've tried this before. It was a total disaster. This is why, unlike you fancy New Yorkers and Greenwich, Connecticut denizens.
Unlike you farm girls from Idaho.
Yes, but I have somehow managed to put the country's interests above my personal interests. Legalized, they're not so cheap anymore. No, this was, and plus, which you lost. You lost. November 9th, we had a referendum on amnesty. I will explain further next week on why this is 100%. I'm sure we do at least have time before Congress acts. But with all the cultural elites, like you, Mark Simone, desperate to have open borders and take away our nation. The one thing that's most important to most Americans is that we can call ourselves Americans. We did have a referendum on this precise issue, and Trump beat everyone by taking America's side. I don't know what else voters can do. Both Republicans and Democrats have conspired to pass amnesties, and they always pretend it's, just for this teeny tiny group of valedictorians. It is not. It is for all 40 million and any other illegals who can clamber across the border. I promise you 100% that is what it will be. And I will give you examples if you want. And all three times, even with the media, even with the conservative media hiding what Congress was even doing, somehow the American people got wind of these three amnesties, called in, shut down the congressional switchboard. It was just 3 years ago, the majority leader, Eric Cantor, outspending an unknown economics professor, Dave Bratt, 40-1, crushed him in a Republican primary. The first time a member of leadership has been defeated in a primary, and it was on the issue of amnesty. And now, if you needed any more proof, the American people have put this utterly implausible candidate in the White House because he was the only one who would take America's side on immigration. That is how he won.
No,
the media and Hillary kept saying, bringing up his personal baggage and Access Hollywood and the things he said about Rosie O'Donnell and his bankruptcies and his 3 marriages and his vulgarity and insanity and everything else. And the American people said, we don't care. This is the agenda we want. You can run Zippy the Chimp. If he tells us he'll build a wall and deport illegals. This is how he won. So my hat's off to whoever it was in the White House who locked Trump in the Oval Office long enough for Jeff Sessions to make the announcement.
Well, you can claim that's how he won, but if you read this Hillary Clinton book, you're laughing.
Wait, is it out?
It's coming out, but you're laughing. But she lays out 5 very specific reasons why she lost. And she really goes into detail. Do you know that Bernie Sanders started this crooked Hillary thing? Did you ever hear Bernie Sanders call her a crook? I never heard that.
No, that's weird. Because that is one of Trump's charms. He does know. I mean, it's funny. Everything the media hates about Trump are all the things I love about him. It's only when he stops doing the things I love about him, well, particularly his main issue that put him in the White House, that I become enraged and frustrated with him. But his mocking names for people were really excellent.
Yeah, and I remember Bernie Sanders got nothing but criticism from everybody that he didn't go after Hillary. All he did was attack him for not going after her.
Well, we did. The Democrats thought it was very gentlemanly of him when he said at that first debate, "I'm sick of hearing about the damn email."
Yeah, see what's exposed right there. He could have hit her right in the throat, right on that one. Didn't do it, but
Bernie is another one who, by the way, I liked a lot better when he was a socialist, and then he became a liberal. He used to have to explain to the little eunuch boys at Vox that no, open borders, that's a Koch brothers idea. We have to take care of our own people. And the hilarious thing about the eunuch boys at Vox, you have to look them up. There's one guy in particular, Dylan something, you just got to see the photo. Anyway, they keep complaining about, yes, but if we allow unlimited immigration, it helps other countries. They get rid of their poor, and it makes them, the whole world a better place. And Bernie Sanders, of all people, the socialist, has to keep explaining to these eunuch boys, no, but we're a country. Wish China, the poor of China and Mexico luck, but we need to take care of our own poor. That is why Bernie Sanders, talk about it, I mean, he's an implausible candidate too, and he almost beat the Clinton machine by, at least in many ways, running on behalf of protecting the American people. Unfortunately, when he became a Democrat to run for president, he had to drop his pro-American immigration position.
Hey, Ann Coulter, I've seen you do these book tours. You sit there and you sign all these books for free. You should learn from Hillary Clinton. She's charging $2,400 to come to a book signing.
You're kidding.
And take a picture. No, the cheapest ticket is $150, and for the $150, you don't get the book signed. You got to go to the $1,200 ticket or $2,400 to get a picture and the signed book.
I'm guessing this is not to benefit, Democratic clubs or charities.
No.
This is to benefit Hillary.
Yeah.
Because it generally does cost a lot to come see me, but it's because I've been hired to give a speech to raise money for some organization like a Republican club or...
yeah, but most of your book signings, and especially in a bookstore, you do that for free. I mean, you got to buy the book, but...
I don't do book signings in bookstores.
Oh.
I only recently started doing them. No, you want an Ann Coulter book signed, book me for a speech. I give excellent speeches. When a book comes out, I'll usually do a couple around around wherever I happen to be.
Yeah, but see, the big authors, they don't have to do this. Like Nelson DeMille, he does like 2 book signings. They automatically just sell. But
well, it's not that. It just takes so much time.
Yeah, but Hillary...
And it's effort now with liberals. I mean, you have to have a battery of security guards.
Well, that's true. The good news about this DACA, you see these Chuck Schumers crying on TV, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Hey, take the thing and put it as legislation. Try to pass it. You won't see guys like Schumer do that.
Well, the bulletproof Democrats will be for it, but...
They'll be for it, but I don't see them proposing it as legislation. You could do that.
Oh, I think that they definitely will. Oh, my gosh, the Democrats get 40 million new voters in 2 years. That's at the end of the Republican Party. The Republican Party could just rename itself the Satanist Party for all the likelihood they have of winning. Luckily, it'll probably be the end of the Democratic Party, too. It'll be... years ago, the head of Singapore said that he was restricting immigration because the problem with multicultural societies, multi-ethnic societies, as he said, is people stop voting their social and economic interests. They vote their ethnic group. And man, do you see that in California. It's not, I mean, the Republican Party is dead. It's the way it will be in the entire country. There is no Republican Party in the entire state of California. But the Democratic Party isn't exactly, the Nancy Pelosi Democratic Party. It's the Hispanic Democrats against the Black Democrats. Soon it will be the Muslim Democrats. So the good news is both parties will be finished.
I hate to say it, but we're out of time. But everybody should go to AnnCoulter.com. Make sure you sign up because you'll get the new column first. New column comes out tonight, right?
I agree that everybody should go to AnnCoulter.com because the stuff that she writes is just that important. Item from Zero Hedge. After urging its supporters in the West to turn cars into weapons, guidance that inspired terror attacks in the UK, Spain, and France, ISIS is now calling for sympathizers to poison the food in the U.S. supermarkets with cyanide, according to Site, S-I-T-E. In recent days, channels associated with the terrorist army have posted calls for attacks in Europe, Russia, and the United States to mark the occasion of the Islamic sacrifice feast, Eid al-Adha. In the third part of an English-language series on jihad, ISIS advised would-be attackers to inject food for sale in markets with cyanide poison. According to SPISA, the organization has tested these methods on prisons, causing horrifically painful deaths. The Islamic State group used prisoners as human guinea pigs, carrying out chemical weapon experiments in order to plan for attacks against the West, documents found in Mosul have revealed. The papers detailing the tests, which led to the agonizing deaths of prisoners, were discovered at Mosul University in January when it was recaptured by Iraqi special forces. The documents, verified by United States and British forces, were detailed by the Times in a report published on Saturday. Prisoners had their food and water contaminated by the sprinkling of chemicals found in easily accessible pesticides. The U.S. and Britain now fear that the same methods could be used on a larger scale to contaminate food supplies in the West. Unquote. So, my friends, let me ask you a question. And like most of my questions, it's a real pain in the ass kind of question. That seems to be my specialty. It's a question no one wants to ask, let alone answer, and I will ask it and answer it for you. How's that? If Muslims are being called upon to poison food in U.S. supermarkets, and I suppose restaurants as well, how are you going to stop them? How are you going to stop them from doing it? If you get some Muslim who works in a restaurant or in a supermarket, or he's just walking through a supermarket, and he's able to pour or sprinkle or inject cyanide poisoning into food, how will you prevent it? That's the question. I'll now answer it for you. You won't. You can't. Once the Muslims are here, they can do basically anything they want, and we're powerless to prevent it. So what's the solution? Well, I just kind of gave it to you, didn't I? I said Muslims can do whatever they want once they're here. What if they're not here? How can a Muslim sprinkle cyanide poisoning in the supermarket if he's in a different country? You think about that while we take this commercial break. Go nowhere.
If you're taking 1, 2, 5, or more nutritional supplements, please stop. Simplify your supplementation with Bio Superfood, the most advanced nutritional whole food supplement you can buy. Women, children, even Olympic athletes the world over have discovered Bio Superfood from BioAge.com. And now take just one nutritional supplement instead of many. The Bio Superfood formulas are whole food products composed with 4 of the most nutrient-dense algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood for the brain helps with focus, memory, clarity, and mood. If you can increase brain health, the rest of the body is a no-brainer. Bio Superfood has 0 toxicity and is safe for you and your family. Learn more and order your Bio Superfood formulas at BioAge.com. Spelled BIOAGE.com. BioAge.com. Or call 877-288-9116. That's 877-288-9116. BioAge. The Age of Advanced Organics.
Great Plains Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom tailored capabilities is not as emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was.
I'll tell you, I'm tired today. All right, back to the radio.
Chapter 1. 14 and 15. People of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
All right, guys, welcome back to Real Truth. Let's collect some more wisdom and insights about the ending of DACA from another really, really smart guy. Here's Tucker Carlson from Fox News. Go.
Well, good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. The administration today announced it will suspend DACA. That's President Obama's program that grants special work permits and amnesty from deportation to illegal immigrants who arrived in this country as minors. You might think the move would set off a national debate about immigration, the pros, the cons, how much of it we're going to need going forward. But no. Instead, the educated classes became completely hysterical, lecturing the rest of us about the racism of the middle of the country. Watch this.
We can think about the policy issues, but there's this kind of cultural undertow. Yeah. That this is really red meat to his base, that it's really speaking to a kind of deep-seated cultural anxiety about the changing nature of the country.
There are people who feel threatened by immigrants, and they're using this concept of unconstitutional as a shield.
He might do away with DACA, which is another moral line that he would be crossing, which is something that would be enforcing, advancing a white supremacy agenda, and also
white supremacy, my friends. That's what liberals think this is.
Well, this isn't just demagoguery, though it is that. It's also nonsense. Whatever you think of the effects of DACA, no administration could continue it because it's illegal. U.S. immigration laws are pretty straightforward. If you're in the country illegally, you're supposed to leave. If you think that's mean or counterproductive or unfair, take it up with your legislators. Only Congress can change the law. The president is bound to faithfully enforce the laws of the United States. He or any president can simply invalidate those he doesn't like. Former Cabinet Secretary Gutierrez doesn't think this is a meaningful distinction, but if you want to live in a constitutional democracy where laws are more powerful than men, nothing is more important than that. But to our leaders, there is indeed something more important than that: political power. They've concluded that mass immigration means new and reliable voters, and that means more power for them. If they need to subvert the rule of law to get that power, they will, and they have. In states across the country, politicians now actively boast about ignoring the law. They unilaterally declare federal statutes invalid in their cities. They bar ICE agents from buildings. They give driver's licenses and in-state college tuition to people who are here illegally. They refuse to prosecute immigrants for crimes that have nothing to do with immigration, in effect giving preference to illegals over their own citizens. Congress is a little better. They look away as the laws they pass are mocked and flouted. In 2012, Barack Obama decided to take this reasoning to its rational endpoint. He just openly ignored the law by creating DACA. That move was sold as a way to protect people who don't remember living in any country except this one. But like almost everything you hear from Washington, that was mostly propaganda. People who came here illegally at 15 were just as eligible for amnesty under DACA as those who'd arrived as infants. DACA beneficiaries were not supposed to receive benefits. Remember that? That turned out to be a lie, too. In New York, for instance, DACA recipients qualify for both Medicaid and cash assistance. But this isn't simply about DACA. The program was indefensible, but it's just one manifestation of a bigger and much more ominous trend. The globalist elite has given up on concepts that have defined civilized states for more than 2 millennia: borders, citizenship, and the rule of written law itself, all abandoned in favor of a worldwide rule by unaccountable technocrats. Just today, former Washington Post reporter and proud illegal alien Jose Antonio Vargas posted a picture of his fake Social Security card on Twitter. His fellow clever people applauded. They're not pretending anymore. Watch this.
No border, no nation.
We need to make it clear that immigrants and immigration are here to stay.
You're about to graduate into a complex and borderless world.
Secretary Clinton said this, take a look, quote, "My dream is a hemispheric common market with open borders sometime in the future." Is that her dream? Is that what she wants? Open borders, an open market?
Yeah, Jake, I'm glad you asked it that way, because I don't think we can dignify documents dumped by WikiLeaks.
Right, that's fair. Is this document then, is it accurate? Did she tell Brazilian bankers that?
I have no way of knowing that. I have no way of knowing.
Well, you could ask her.
Yeah, she did, in fact. By the way, nobody was talking like this 10 years ago, at least in public. This is all happening pretty fast. So it might be worth pausing to think through the consequences of these new attitudes. Borders, laws, citizenship, they're big things to give up, especially when they're done by executive fiat without giving a vote to the masses who have to deal with the actual consequences of these changes. When you refuse to control your borders, you're saying that the country doesn't belong to its people, but to the whole world. When you give away citizenship to anyone who wants it, you're saying that citizenship isn't worth anything. Is that really our position now? Congressman Henry Cuellar is a Democrat from Texas, and he joins us tonight. Congressman, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much. It's been a good time talking to you.
So what's your position on this, that the United States should always allow minor illegal immigrants to stay in the country and to get amnesty and then citizenship, or that they should be deported under certain circumstances, or what are the rules that you're pushing for here?
Well, first of all, I don't believe in open borders. I think any country has the responsibility to enforce its laws. No ifs, no buts about it. Number two, the question that we have before is, when we talk about dreamers, are we talking about we have a problem with the implementation of this? Should it be the executive, or should it be Congress, or do we have a basic issue with the public policy? In this case, we're not talking about criminals. We're talking about...
Wrong. Wrong. How odd that this Hispanic lawmaker should say something absolutely ridiculous that favors Hispanics. And this is where people go wrong, either intentionally or unintentionally. If you're in the country illegally, you're a criminal. Don't like the way that sounds? Too bad. If you're doing something illegal, you are a criminal. Now I'm going to say something controversial. You ready? Here it goes. Committing crimes is wrong. There, I said it. Go ahead. Scream racist at your radios or your computers where you're watching me on YouTube. But if you're here illegally, you're a criminal. You don't want to be considered a criminal? Well, that's fine. You may leave. The door goes in both directions. So they're here 26 years old, 25, 24, 23. They're not here legally. But this putz says they're not criminals. Well, let's see. You're breaking the law, but you're not a criminal. How do you kind of bridge the gap between those two concepts? Well, if you're a liberal and you've got your own dream logic, I suppose you could. Or if you've been ingesting some kind of hallucinogenic drug, you could. But if you're 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 years old, and you know you're here illegally, and believe me, these people know, you're a criminal. You're the kind of riffraff America doesn't want. This is a country of laws. And if you don't like that, you're free to like it in some other country. Preferably, for your sake, your home country. But if you're knowingly committing a crime here, we want you out. Now, will politicians do that? Who the hell knows what politicians will or won't do? But the fact of the matter is, if you're here illegally, you are a criminal. Swallow that idea, because it's true. We'll take a break and we'll be back.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Phillips, founder of the Green Earth. Well, it had to happen. Colorado legalized marijuana Most people thought the green herb was a marijuana dispensary. Also, it was legalized on January the 1st, 2014. The same day we opened our new location at 4565 Kiffin Street, 1.5 blocks south of I-70. There are 83,000 cars a day passing in front of our new location on Kiffin Street, and most of them thought we were a marijuana dispensary. So we changed the name of our retail store to New Genesis Health, but we kept the name of our green herb supplements. So when you come to our new location, look for our new name, New Genesis Health, or call us at 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372. And be sure to listen to the Healthy Nature Show with Linda Phillips every Tuesday at 1 p.m.
Now this is the testimony of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, "I am not the Messiah." And they asked him, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" And he answered, "No." The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19 through 21.
The associates at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter, I forget the money. No one anywhere is more noble, righteous, selfless, or courageous than our United States Armed Forces. These brave men and women and their families put the bill for our freedom every day. Send a military care package today to let them know that they are in our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts. This message is from the associate at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter on Highway 207 in Lafayette. They're on the air because they care.
My friends, Hillary Clinton is about to come out with a new book, and considering the IQ of Hillary voters, I'm guessing it comes with a little box of crayons tied to it. Here's Tucker Carlson and Mark Stein talking about this ridiculous, and if she had half her brain, shameful new memoir. Here we go.
is this? This is just going to be, I believe, her third unread memoir.
You gotta wonder, though, if there's not an editor who maybe took Psych 101 in college who could say to her, maybe you shouldn't write that. I mean, in here she says, I've had a lifetime of dealing with difficult men. Maybe an editor would say, yeah, let's go ahead and take that out. You know what I mean? Because we don't want to add to the psychodrama. I guess no one in her universe can tell her that.
No, and can't tell her that the truth, which is that we'd all actually like to know the truth of the Clinton marriage. She knows some very dark secrets, and that would make an interesting book. But what's interesting here, too, is that if you just think, and we talked about this a few months ago, if you just think of the excuses she has come up with as to why she lost the election, we did a whole segment on her blaming it on Macedonian content farmers, if you recall. And you actually sent a reporter to the Macedonian embassy in Washington.
Or somebody to defend the honor of Macedonia. Yeah.
Exactly, and so this would be the all-time greatest thriller if Hillary traces the secret of her defeat. She actually visits a Macedonian content farm, and there's some gnarled old Macedonian content farmers sitting on the weathered porch of the Macedonian content farm, playing the Godolka as they sing the ancient peasant songs of their people. Macedonian content farmers back through the generations. That would have been an interest. That would have been an interesting book to read, to actually unravel the mystery as to why the most inevitable president in the history of inevitability is now washed up and wandering in the woods talking to herself and saying to Bill, well, that Donald Trump, he really made me feel uncomfortable. And he has this reputation for groping women, Bill. Oh, where are you going? You're just popping in to see that attractive young widow who's moved in next door. That would be an actual Hillary Clinton book worth reading. But Tucker, the thing about it, I read her first memoir cover to cover, and the nonsense in Hillary's account of her life, going back to her very name, when, as you recall, she told Sir Edmund Hillary, conqueror of Everest, that she had been named after him. He conquered Everest in 1953. She was born in 1948 when Sir Edmund was an obscure New Zealand beekeeper.
He was a beekeeper. I remember that.
That's right.
I'm sorry. I can't get past the gnarled Macedonian content farmers. Mark, we're out of time. I'm sorry. It's great to see you.
So when you see what an obvious clod Hillary Clinton is, how unaware she is, even of her own self, you see what a fool and a liar she is. I'd love for you to call my show and tell me why you voted for her for president. 877-254-7524. If you want to possibly defend your vote for Hillary Clinton for president, please call my show. I would love it. Item from CNS News: 913 refugees were admitted to the United States during August. The first time the monthly intake has dropped below 1,000 in 15 years, and the smallest number of monthly admissions since October 2002. Altogether now, my friends, 1, 2, 3. Thank you, President Trump. Each and every one of those people who did not come here is a potential murderer, rapist, small-time hood who will not be tearing away at the lives of innocent people. So for a second time, thank you, President Trump. Mucho apreciado. We'll be right back.
Taking 1, 2, 5, or more nutritional supplements, please stop. Simplify your supplementation with Bio Superfood, the most advanced nutritional whole food supplement you can buy. Women, children, even Olympic athletes the world over have discovered Bio Superfood from BioAge.com. And now take just one nutritional supplement instead of many. The Bio Superfood formulas are whole food products composed with 4 of the most nutrient-dense algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood for the brain helps with focus, memory, clarity, and food. If you can improve health, the rest of the body is a no-brainer. Bio Superfood has 0 toxicity. Superfood formulas at bioage.com. Spelled BIOAGE.com. Bioage.com. Or call 877-288-9116. That's 877-288-9116. Bioage. The age of advanced organics.
And of his fullness we have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16.
Elizabeth Locker, Planning and Elizabeth, reminds our listeners that the drug problem is well documented. We know our kids will be approached at early age. We want to applaud the youngsters in our community who have had the strength to say no to drugs. They provide examples to their peers and families to be the best they can be. That's from Elizabeth Locker Plant, located at 366 Scrap Street in Elizabeth, serving our area and specializing in naturalized aged beef and pork and complete custom processing. Call 303-688-2240. That's 303-688-2240.
My friends, I keep my promises. I promised yesterday we'd get to John Whitehead, and here we are from the Rutherford Institute. Whitehead wants to know what country this is, and here's what he writes, quote, "Our freedoms, especially the Fourth Amendment, are being choked out by a prevailing view among government bureaucrats that they have the right to search, seize, strip, scan, shoot, spy on, probe, pat down, taser, and arrest any individual at any time and for the slightest provocation. Forced cavity searches, forced colonoscopies, forced blood draws, forced breath alcohol tests, forced DNA extractions, forced eye scans, forced inclusion of biometric databases. These are just a few ways in which Americans are being forced to accept that we have no control over our bodies, our lives, and our property, especially when it comes to interactions with the government. Worse, on a daily basis, Americans are being made to relinquish the most intimate details of who we are, our biological makeup, our genetic blueprints, and our biometrics. Those are facial characteristics and structure, fingerprints, iris scans, etc., in order to clear the nearly insurmountable hurdle that increasingly defines life in the United States. We are now guilty until proven innocent. Such is life in America today that individuals are being threatened with arrest and carted off to jail for the least hint of non-compliance. Homes are being raided by police under the slightest pretext, property is being seized on the slightest hint of suspicious activity, and roadside police stops have devolved into government-sanctioned exercises in humiliation and degradation with a complete disregard for privacy and human dignity. Consider, for example, what happened in Utah to nurse Alex Wubbles after a police detective demanded to take blood from a badly injured, unconscious patient without a warrant. Wubbles refused, citing hospital policy that requires the police to either have a warrant or permission from the patient in order to draw blood. The detective had neither. Irate, the detective threatened to have Wubbles arrested if she didn't comply. Backed up by her supervisors, Wubbles respectfully stood her ground only to be roughly grabbed, shoved out of the hospital, handcuffed, and forced into an unmarked car while hospital police looked on and failed to intervene. Michael Chorosky didn't have an advocate like Wubbles to stand guard over his Fourth Amendment rights. Chorosky was surrounded by police, strapped to a gurney, and then had his blood forcibly drawn after refusing to submit to a breathalyzer test. "What country is this? What country is this?" cried Chorosky during the forced blood draw. What country is this, indeed? Unfortunately, forced blood draws are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the indignities and abuses being heaped on Americans in the so-called name of national security. Forced cavity searches, forced colonoscopies, forced roadside strip searches are also becoming par for the course in an age in which police are taught to have no respect for the citizenry's bodily integrity, whether or not a person has done anything wrong, unquote. My friends, go to Rutherford.org, read this in its entirety, share it with people, get angry about it with people, talk to your politicians, talk to your local police chiefs, call the local media, because this is absolutely 200% unacceptable in the United States of America. It's an obscenity. It's an outrage, and you absolutely must get angry about this and take action. It's not going to stop on its own. It's only going to stop if you and I stop it. Well, that's the show for today. I will be back. Let's see. Today's Wednesday. I think tomorrow's Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. I'll be back tomorrow with a whole new hour of real truth. Until then, my friends, do yourselves a favor. Go find your children wherever they are. Put your arms around them. Give them a hug. Give them a kiss. Tell them you love them. Because they deserve it. And because you deserve it. Hasta luego.